and give the heading as Great Indian Desert. Great Indian Desert. Write down this desert popularly called as Thar Desert. It extended into the state of Rajasthan in India, and some part of desert even extended into Pakistan region. Full stop. In Pakistan region, the same desert called with another name as Cholistan. Okay, it means that the Thar desert in India, this particular desert is called as Thar desert, but the same desert in the Pakistan region, it is called as Cholistan. The next point, there is a frequent shifting of sand dunes in the Thar desert is known as Dryans. Okay, the next point. In 1990s, the government of India conducted nuclear experiment which named as Smiling Buddha. At the place called Pokhran. Okay, this is about the Thar desert. Give the next heading, next chapter. Very, very important. Next chapter, Indian climate. Indian climate. Indian climate. Indian climate. Anna, this chapter is very, very important. Okay, write down. The Indian climate considered as Monsoonal type of climate. Monsoonal type of climate. Monsoonal type of climate. Stop. On an average, India is going to receive 117 centimeters of rainfall per year. 117 centimeters of rainfall per year. 117 centimeters of rainfall per year. This is about the normal introduction. Write down the next point. According to Indian Meteorological Department, entire India is consisting of four seasons. Entire India is consisting of four seasons. Okay. The first one is First I am writing the second one, which is known as Southwest Monsoon. Southwest Monsoon, which is extending from June to till September. Southwest Monsoon, which is extending from June to till September. The second one is Northeast Monsoon, which is extending from September to January. The next one is post-monsoonal season, which extending from February to till March. And the next one is pre-monsoonal season, which extending from April to May. These are the seasons according to Indian Meteorological Department. According to Indian Meteorological Department, how many seasons are there? 4 seasons are there. The first one is known as pre-monsoonal season. The name itself is telling that pre-monsoon. What do you mean by pre? Nothing but before the monsoon. Okay. Such type of season is called as April, May. Generally, in this particular season also we will find the rainfall. But that particular rainfall is very, very meager. Okay. And also the next one is Southwest Monsoonal season. What do you mean by Southwest Monsoons? Already at somewhere we discussed about the monsoons. When the monsoons enters into India? By the time of June 1st. See the diagram. Whenever you are seeing the diagram, by the time of June 1st, the monsoons enters into India. By the time of June 1st, monsoons enters into India. Initially it covers the state called as Kerala, then it enters into Karnataka. Finally, it also enters into Andhra Pradesh. Not entire part of Andhra Pradesh, some parts of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. By the time of June 5th, it reaches to almost all the states called as Maharashtra, as well as Northern Karnataka, Telangana, as well as Chhattisgarh. By the time of June 10th, it reaches to central part of India, especially the states like Gujarat as well as Madhya Pradesh. By the time of June 15th, see here, by the time of June 15th, it reaches to entire northern part of India. So the southwest monsoon starts from June 1st. By the time of June 15th, it is going to cover entire part of India. Up to what extent this particular monsoon enters into India? By the time called as continuously up to September. So June, July, August, September, these particular 4 months, there is a dominance of monsoons in India. Such monsoons are called as Southwest Monsoons. It means that when it is going to enter into India, June 1st. When it is going to cover entire India, June 15th. It means that within 15 days, the entire monsoons will be distributed all over the India. This is the one what we discussed in the yesterdays. All you people are having the idea called as Southwest Monsoon, Northeast Monsoon. Okay, differential heating of land and water body leads to there is certain type of winds called as monsoonal winds, and these monsoonal winds, can you able to find the monsoonal winds all over the globe? We can't find the monsoonal winds all over the globe. These are restricted to certain pockets of the world. What are those areas? Indian subcontinent, then South China Sea, Northern Australia, Caribbean Sea, Eastern and Western Africa. Did we discuss all these things? Then we come across with the mechanism of Southwest Monsoon. Within the mechanism of Southwest Monsoon, see here, this particular Southwest Monsoons enters into India with the help of how many branches? 2 branches. One is called as Arabian branch, other one is called as Bay of Bengal branch. Okay, this Arabian branch further broken into how many branches? 3 branches. One is called as entire Western Ghats. The second one is called as Rift Valley. The third branch is called as Aravalli, where you can find the maximum rainfall. Western side of Western Ghats. Not only the western side of Western Ghats, even the central part of Madhya Pradesh. Gurtunda? Finally, all these particular winds reaches to the foothills of Himalayas. On the other side, there are certain branch. One more branch enters into India. Okay, but one particular state is not receiving the rainfall. What is that particular state? Tamil Nadu. Why the Tamil Nadu is not receiving? Why? Because these particular winds are blowing parallel to the coast. Finally, it enters into the Andhra Pradesh coast, especially the area called as Krishna Delta, then Godavari Delta, Mahanadi Delta, and some of the winds are directly entering into the northeastern states, especially the areas like Garo, Kasi, Jaintia, and it is giving almost all 1500 centimeters of rainfall. That is the reason why you can find 2 important places called as Mysindram, Chirapunji. After crossing this one, after touching the Himalayas, these are taking forceful westward direction. Finally, these winds, Bay of Bengal winds, are going to meet with the Arabian branch winds by the time of September. Anni kalisipotayi kada. After crossing of September, we are entering into the season called as winter. Whenever the winter, what type of pressure condition should be there in India? High pressure. So whenever the high pressure is there, where is low pressure? In the southern hemisphere. So wind starts retreating back. ఏ డైరెక్షన్లో వెళ్ళాయి అదే డైరెక్షన్లో వెనక్కి వచ్చేస్తున్నాయి కదా. That's why what we call that particular winds, retreating monsoons, also known as northeast monsoons. Okay, because of this particular northeast monsoons, only one particular state is giving the rainfall or receiving the rainfall. What is that particular state? Tamil Nadu state. This is called as normal behavior of monsoon. Okay, now whatever the monsoonal concept we discussed, that particular concept has propounded a personality called as Edmund Halley in the year 1707. Okay, the personality who propounded the monsoonal mechanism of India is, that personality is known as Edmund Halley. When he propounded this one? 1707. 1707. From 1707 to till 1951, everyone accepted this theory. 1707 to till 1951, everyone accepted one particular personality theory without any doubt. Who is that personality? Edmund Halley. Okay, now the name of his particular theory is known as differential heating of land and water body. Differential heating of land and water body, which is also known as classical theory or traditional theory on Indian monsoon. Okay, whatever we discussed in the climatology మనం చదువుకున్నాం గుర్తుందా? Southwest monsoon, northeast monsoons. What do you mean by monsoon? Seasonal retreating of monsoon. గుర్తుందా? Who propounded that particular theory? Edmund Halley. When he propounded 1707. From 1707 to till 1951, everyone is accepting only one theory regarding the Indian monsoons. What we call that particular theory? Classical theory or traditional theory, which is also known as differential heating of land and water body. But after 91, because of development of science and technology, there are certain theories are evolved which are giving the better information regarding the monsoons than the Edmund Halley concept. 1950 తర్వాత, because of development of science and technology, science and technology బాగా డెవలప్ కావడం వల్ల, okay, there is a evolvement of new theories regarding the Indian monsoon. కానీ 1707 to 1951, how many theories are there? Only one theory. But after 1951, many theories got evolved which are giving the information regarding the Indian monsoons. All those particular theories are combinedly called as modern theories. Modern theories on Indian monsoons. Okay, so give the heading as modern theories on Indian monsoon. Modern theories on Indian monsoon. The first one is dynamic theory. Dynamic theory of monsoon. The second one is jet stream theory. The second one is jet stream theory. The third one is ENSO. The last one is Indian Ocean Dipole, which is popularly called as IOD. Which is popularly called as IOD. Okay, when these theories has developed after 1951. Okay, while we are struggling in terms of planning or everything, and also what is the importance of 1952? there is a war. On that particular time period, there are certain monsoons there are certain theories got evolved on the monsoons. All these particular theories are combinedly called as scientific theories or modern theories. What is the first one? The dynamic theory of monsoon. What is the second one? Jet stream theory. What is the third one? ENSO. And the last one is Indian Ocean Dipole. So give the first setting as dynamic theory of monsoon. Dynamic theory of monsoon. Dynamic theory of monsoon. This theory propounded by Hermann Flohn in 1951. This theory propounded by Hermann Flohn in 1951. He is German meteorologist. He is German meteorologist. He is German meteorologist. What do you mean by meteorology? The persons, those who is going to predict the climate or weather, such personalities are called as meteorologist. Okay, there was a personality, the name of the personality is called as Hermann Flohn. Okay, he propounded his theory in 1951. Okay, but in some books there is a one more spelling called as FOEHN. Rendu correct. Some books, కొన్ని books లో ఫ్లోన్ అని ఉంది, కొన్ని books లో ఫోన్ అని ఉంటుంది. Who is he? He is from Germany. See here, this particular theory is also known as ITCZ shifting theory. ITCZ shifting theory, which is also known as ITCZ shifting theory. What do you mean by ITCZ? Intertropical Convergence Zone. The point where the two trade winds are converging, that point is called as ITCZ. Gurtunda? For example, this is the equatorial low pressure belt. Assume that this is the subtropical high pressure belt. This is also a subtropical high pressure belt. Gurtunnayo? The winds which are blowing from subtropical high pressure belt to equatorial low pressure belt, what we call that particular winds? Those winds are called as trade winds. The point where the two trade winds are converging, that point is called as intertropical convergence zone. Intavaraku okayna? But see here, according to Mr. Flohn, there are two types of equators. According to Mr. Flohn, there are two types of equators. The first one is called as geographical equator. The first one is called as geographical equator. The second one is called as dynamic equator or thermal equator. According to Mr. Flohn, how many equators are there? Two equators. What is the first one? Geographical equator. What is the second one? Dynamic equator. Till now we come across how many equators? Only one equator. What do you mean by equator according to you? It is the imaginary line which is going to differentiate entire globe horizontally into two equal parts. That particular line is called as equator, generally 0 degrees. Okay, that particular equator is called as geographical equator, which is never changing the direction, which is never changing the direction. sometimes this geographical equator also referred as static equator. Sometimes the geographical equator also referred as static equator. What do you mean by static? There is no question of changing. It is staying at one particular place. Okay, now according to Mr. Phone, there are two types of equators. One is called as geographical equator, other one is called as dynamic equator. What do you mean by geographical equator? The imaginary line which is there at the center horizontally over the globe, which named as 0 degrees, that particular equator is called as geographical equator, which is never changing the direction. Since it is not changing the direction, that's why it is also known as static equator. But according to Mr. Phone, there is one more equator that is called as dynamic or thermal equator. What do you mean by dynamic or thermal equator? See here, this point is very, very important. The point where high temperatures are recording. The point where the high temperatures are recording, that particular zone is called as thermal equator. The point where high temperatures are recording, that particular line or that particular zone is called as dynamic or thermal equator. Dynamic or thermal equator. ఇంతవరకు ఓకేనా? Now see here. Now there is a concept called as apparent shift of sunrays. Apparent shift of sunrays. What do you mean by apparent shift of sunrays? What do you mean by apparent shift of sunrays? The vertical falling of sunrays on the globe is permanent or dynamic? Dynamic. Okay, then there are certain occasions while we are discussing about the climatology, we come across certain words called as equinox. Gurtunda? How many types of equinoxes are there? Two types. What is the first one? What is the first one? The first one is spring equinox. The second one is autumn equinox. Very good. What is the next event? Summer solstice. What is the next one? Winter solstice. If events gurtunnaya, see here, there are certain events called as equinox. The first one is called as spring equinox. The second one is called as autumn equinox. Okay, the next one is summer solstice. The third one is winter solstice. What it means? See here. Again I am revising here. For example, what is this one? Equator. What is this equator? 0 degrees. According to Phone, which is never changing the direction. What we call that one? Static equator, which is also known as geographical equator. The name is known as 0 degrees. Okay. Exactly at one particular time, March 21st, where the sunrays are falling. March 21st, where the sunrays are falling? Geographical equator. By the time of June 21st, where the sunrays are falling? That particular event is called as Gurtostunaya? What is that event? Summer Okay, it means that always the sun rays are falling vertically over the equator. Always the sun rays are falling only on the equator, geographical equator. Sometime it is falling on the equator, sometime it is falling on the near the tropic of Cancer, and sometimes it is also falling. See here, after June 3rd, June 21st, what is the next event? June తర్వాత ఏంటి? జూలై, జూలై తర్వాత ఆగస్ట్, ఆగస్ట్ తర్వాత సెప్టెంబర్. విత్ ఇన్ ద సెప్టెంబర్ ఆల్సో దెర్ ఈస్ వన్ మోర్ ఈవెంట్. వాట్ ఈస్ దట్ ఈవెంట్? విచ్ ఈక్వినాక్స్? ఆటమ్ ఈక్వినాక్స్. సెప్టెంబర్ తర్వాత, సెప్టెంబర్ తర్వాత వాట్ ఈస్ ద నెక్స్ట్ మంత్? సెప్టెంబర్ తర్వాత అక్టోబర్, అక్టోబర్ తర్వాత నవంబర్, నవంబర్ తర్వాత డిసెంబర్. ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ ఆన్ డిసెంబర్ 21st, వేర్ ద సన్ రైస్ ఆర్ ఫాలింగ్? ట్రాపిక్ ఆఫ్ Capricorn. What is that event? That event is called as winter. ఇంతవరకు ఎవరికైనా డౌట్ ఉందా? No one is having the doubt. It means that there is a frequent shifting of sun rays from Tropic of Cancer to Tropic of Capricorn via equator, or from the Tropic of Capricorn to till Tropic of Cancer via equator. ఓకేనా? అంటే ఒక్క రోజు మాత్రమే ఎక్కడ పడుతున్నాయి? డిసెంబర్ 21st. ఎక్కడ పడుతున్నాయి? ట్రాపిక్ ఆఫ్ క్యాప్రికాన్. వెర్ ఇస్ ట్రాపిక్ ఆఫ్ క్యాప్రికాన్? సదరన్ హెమిస్ఫియర్. వేర్ ఎవర్ ద సన్ రేస్ ఆర్ ఫాలింగ్ వర్టికల్లీ ఇన్ దట్ పర్టికులర్ హెమిస్ఫియర్, వాట్ ఈస్ ద సీజన్? Summer. If the sun rays are falling vertically over the Tropic of Capricorn, where is Tropic of Capricorn? Summer, sorry, in the southern hemisphere. So what is the season? Summer. Whatever the season in the southern hemisphere, that is not the season in the northern hemisphere. If the season in the southern hemisphere is summer, what is the season in northern hemisphere? Winter. ఇంతవరకు ఎవరికి డౌట్ లేదు కదా? Now see here. For example, what is this month? June. Where the sun rays are falling vertically? Northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere? Northern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere. Which part? Near to the Tropic of Cancer, no? Near to the Tropic of Cancer or near to the Tropic of Capricorn? Near to the Tropic of Cancer. So what is the season right now in India? What is the season right now in India? ఇంతవరకు ఎవరికి డౌట్ లేదు. ఆకీస్ పాక్, కరివేపాక్. మళ్ళీ చెప్తున్నాను, జాగ్రత్తగా అర్థం చేసుకోండి. డోంట్ రైట్ ఎనీథింగ్. ఫస్ట్ లిజన్ ద కాన్సెప్ట్. ఐ విల్ గివ్ యూ ద హ్యాండ్ అవుట్స్. నౌ సీ హియర్. ఇప్పుడు చెప్పండి. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, హియర్ యూ కెన్ ఫైండ్ ద ఇంపార్టెంట్ కంట్రీ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ ఇండియా. Exactly at the center of India, there is a moving of what we call that particular latitude, Tropic of Cancer. Now see here, by the time of March 21st, where the sun rays start falling? Equator. After March, it enters into the March తర్వాత ఏంటి? ఏప్రిల్. ఏప్రిల్కి ఇక్కడికే కదా. ఏప్రిల్ తర్వాత ఏంటి? మే. మే తర్వాత జూన్. It means that the sun rays are not static. The vertical fall of sun rays is not static. It is keep on changing. Now, for example, where you can find, for example, this is the June, where the sun rays close to the Tropic of Cancer or close to the equator. Close to the Tropic of Cancer. So, where you can find the maximum recording of temperature? Close to the Tropic of Cancer or close to the equator? Close to the Tropic of Cancer. So, according to Mr. Phone, what do you mean by equator? There are two types of equator. One is called as geographical equator, other one is called as dynamic equator. What do you mean by dynamic equator according to Phone? Wherever the high temperatures are recording, that particular zone is called as equatorial zone. So, for example, if at all here the high temperatures are there, This particular line is called as what type of equator? What is this particular equator? Geographical or static equator. ఇంతవరకు ఎవరికి డౌట్ లేదు, ఓకే కదా? వాట్ డూ మీన్ బై ITCZ? వాట్ డూ మీన్ బై ITCZ? ఇంటర్ ట్రాపికల్ కన్వర్జెన్స్ జోన్. Okay, how you are going to define the ITCZ? The point where the two trade winds are converging, that point is called as ITCZ. This particular dynamic equator also referred as ITCZ. This dynamic equator is also referred as ITCZ. ఇంతవరకు ఓకేనా? Now understand with the map. Okay, this is called as geographical equator. Assume that this is in the month called as June. In the month of June, where you can find the ITCZ? Northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere? Northern hemisphere. But whenever you are seeing the ITCZ, ITCZ is not a straight line. That is the first point. Whenever you are seeing the ITCZ is not a straight line. Why ITCZ is not a straight line? See here, because of temperatures. For example, is this the land or the ocean? Assume that this is the land. In the land, what about the temperature? High temperatures. Whenever you are seeing the temperatures, the land is having the high temperatures or the ocean is having the high temperatures? Land. That's why the temperatures are high. But whenever the same line enters into the ocean, what about the temperatures? Low temperatures. That's why it is very close to this one, like this. Whenever any land is there, again the temperatures are high. Whenever the ocean is there, again the temperatures are low. This particular line is technically called as ITCZ. In the month of June, where the ITCZ is lying? Northern hemisphere. This ITCZ is also known as which equator? Static equator. See here, what is this equator? Is it changing any direction? There is no question of changing direction. What is the literal meaning of ITCZ? The point where the two trade winds are converging, that point only is called as intertropical convergence zone. Now, this is the yellow color line is the equator, right? Here, what type of winds has to come? What is this particular winds? What is this particular winds? What is this winds? Which are coming towards the ITCZ in the northern hemisphere? Which trade winds? Northeast trade winds hai kada. So all these winds are called as northeast trade winds. But someone is not coming. Who is that someone? Southeast trade winds. See the direction of southeast trade winds. See here, these winds are coming towards the geographical equator. వస్తున్నాయా? What is these winds? Southeast trade winds. These are coming towards the geographical equator, but someone is not coming. Who is that someone? Northeast trade winds are not coming. Why the northeast trade winds are not coming? Why? Because the ITCZ is not there in the geographical equator. It is there in the northern hemisphere. These winds are waiting for that particular winds. These are unable to come. Since these are the winds having some guts, that's why these are crossing the equator. Once these winds crosses the equator, these are entering into which hemisphere? Northern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere, how the winds has to deflect? Right side. సో ఇలా వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఎలా తిరగాలి? రైట్ సైడ్ తిరుగుతున్నాయా? వాట్ వి కాల్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ విండ్స్? Normally these are called as southeast trade winds. Once southeast trade winds enters into northern hemisphere, how they have to deflect? Right side. Okay, so these are coming very close to the which part of the area? ITCZ. And these are coming to the ITCZ. These are colliding. But the point here is, whenever these winds has taken the forceful U-turn, where these winds are going? Initially, Indian Ocean, one part of Arabian Sea as well as Bay of Bengal. And these winds are entering into India from which direction? Southwestern side. That's why these winds called as Southwest Monsoons. ఇంతవరకు ఓకేనా? ఇన్ ద పాత దాంట్లో మనం ఏం చెప్పాం? See here, these are converging at the 0 degrees according to Edmund Halley. These 90% of winds are converging at the geographical equator, but 10% winds are not converging. Whatever the 10% winds are not converging, these are entering into northern hemisphere and these are deflecting right side. Why these are deflecting right side? Low pressure is there according to Edmund Halley. But what this personality came up with, Mr. Phone, he came up with a very very scientifical process. It means that అక్కడ లో ప్రెషర్ ఉండడం వల్ల కాదు, ITCZ నార్థన్ హెమిస్ఫియర్కి షిఫ్ట్ అయింది. దట్స్ వై ద విండ్స్ ఆర్ డిఫ్లెక్టింగ్ టువర్డ్స్ ద రైట్ ఇన్ ద నార్థన్ హెమిస్ఫియర్. హూ టోల్డ్ దిస్ వన్? మిస్టర్ ఫోన్ హ్యాడ్ టోల్డ్ దట్ వన్. అండ్ ఆల్సో దెర్ ఈజ్ ఏ స్టాటిక్ ఫాలింగ్ ఆఫ్ వర్టికల్ సన్ రేస్ ఆఫ్ పడుతున్నాయా? Why? Because it is that what we call that movement, upper and shift of sun rays. If at all the upper and shift of sun rays is not there, there is no question of this concept. Upper and shift of sun rays లేదనుకోండి, ఎప్పుడు ప్రతిసారి జాగ్రఫికల్ ఈక్వేటర్ మీదనే పడుతున్నాయి అనుకోండి, కెన్ యూ ఏబుల్ టు సీ ద మాన్సూన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియా? There is no question of monsoons. It means that this personality explained in a perfect, scientifically in a logical way. That is called as ITCZ concept, which is also called as dynamic concept. ఇంతవరకు ఓకేనా? When it ends in June, that's why in the June someone is entering into India. Who is that someone? Monsoons. What we call that particular monsoons? Southwest monsoons. Once these are entering into India, it is giving the copious amount of rainfall. This is called as only the southwest monsoon. Then how the northeast monsoons are arising? Now see the same concept, same diagram. I am changing. Nana, I will give you the time to draw the diagram. Don't worry. First you listen here. See here, whenever the sun rays, ITCZ is static or dynamic? Dynamic. In the June, where the sun rays are falling? Northern hemisphere. Whenever it crosses the September, where the sun rays is going to fall? Southern hemisphere. So, northern hemisphere, for example, this is the season during the December or November. What is the season right now? What is the months? What are these months? November and December. Where the sun rays are falling vertically? Northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere? Southern hemisphere. According to Mr. Phone, what do you mean by thermal equator? What do you mean by equator according to Mr. Phone? Wherever the sun rays are falling high or wherever the temperatures are recording high, that particular zone is called as equator. Where the sun rays are falling vertically? Southern hemisphere. So southern hemisphere will receive the more temperatures or the northern hemisphere will receive the more temperatures? Southern hemisphere. So we can draw this particular line like this. ఇప్పుడు చెప్పండి, In the month of November, the ITCZ lies in northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere? In the month of January, the ITCZ lies in northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere? In the month of March 21st, the ITCZ lies in northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere? Equator. Not in any hemisphere. March 21st. In the month of September, the ITCZ lies in close to the equator. అంతే కదా, నేను డేట్ చెప్పానా? సెప్టెంబర్ 21st పైన అయితే నార్థన్ హెమిస్ఫియర్, సెప్టెంబర్ 21st 22nd దాటింది అనుకో, ఇట్ ఎంటర్స్ ఇంటూ సదర్న్ హెమిస్ఫియరే కదా. ఇన్ ద మంత్ ఆఫ్ ఆగస్ట్, ద ITCZ లైస్ ఇన్ నార్థన్ హెమిస్ఫియర్. ఇక్కడ ఎవరికి డౌట్ లేదు. నౌ సీ హియర్, అజ్యూమ్ దట్ దిస్ ఈస్ ద ITCZ. వాట్ ఈస్ దిస్ మంత్? November. Why this ITCZ lies in southern hemisphere in November? Because of shifting of sun rays. Now where the sun rays are falling vertically? Southern hemisphere. What is this one? This is called as dynamic equator. Now see here, there are certain winds are coming in the southern hemisphere. What are these winds? What is the trade winds? Southeast trade winds. But someone is not coming. Northeast trade winds. Now see here, అక్కడ జూన్లో ఎక్కడ ఆగిపోయాయి? ఇక్కడ ఇండియాలోనే ఆగిపోయాయి. ఎందుకు? ITCZ అక్కడ ఉంది కాబట్టి. ఇప్పుడు ITCZ ఇక్కడ ఉందా, కింద ఉందా? నథింగ్ బట్ సదర్న్ హెమిస్ఫియర్కి వచ్చింది కదా. సో అగైన్ ద రీఎస్టాబ్లిష్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ విచ్ విండ్స్? నార్త్ ఈస్ట్ ట్రేడ్ విండ్స్. ఇన్ విచ్ డైరెక్షన్ దీస్ ఆర్ కమింగ్? నార్త్ ఈస్టర్న్ సైడ్. Since these are blowing in the India from the northeastern side, what we call this monsoons? Northeast monsoons. Whenever these are blowing in Indian mainland, is it having the moisture? No moisture. That's why there is no question of rainfall. Once it enters into the Bay of Bengal, it is having the capacity to pick the moisture. While it is returning back, it is giving certain amount of rainfall in the state called as Tamil Nadu. After crossing the Tamil Nadu, these are entering into the North Indian Ocean. Finally, it comes near to the which equator? 0 degrees. What we call that one? Geographical equator. But someone is absent. Waiting. But someone is not there. In search of that particular winds, these winds crosses the which equator? Geographical equator. After crossing the geographical equator, these winds are entering into the which hemisphere? Southern hemisphere. Once it enters into the southern hemisphere, how it has to deflect? Right or left? Ustunaya? Generally, in the month of November, December, this ITCZ lies which Australia? So northern Australia is going to receive rainfall. Now while we are discussing about the monsoon, we come across one statement. The Southwest Monsoons are coming all the way from Australia to India. Matladukunnama. The Northeast Monsoons are going from India to all the way to Australia. Condition satisfied? With a logical way, scientific way. That's why this particular monsoonal concept is so powerful. And this particular concept is very, very important. If you start to read in the NCERT, the entire literature it can't be understand very easily. But whenever you people are visualizing, then only it is going to be understand. Intavaraku okay na? Done? First you draw this diagram, then we will go for the diagram. Exam lo adigite diagram వేసి రాయాలి. అన్న అర్థమైందా? మళ్ళీ చెప్పాలా? ఓకే రైట్? Everyone is struggle to understand this concept. Entire Indian monsoons. Once you understand this particular behavior throughout your lifetime, you won't forget this particular concept. Just అర్థమైనంత వరకే ఇబ్బంది. ఒక్కసారి అర్థమైందా జీవితంలో మర్చిపోం. దట్ ఈస్ ద స్పెషాలిటీ ఆఫ్ జాగ్రఫీ. And everyone is telling that geography is a very vast syllabus, very difficult. No.